There is a highly specific kind of memory that hits you in the chest before it ever reaches your brain. You're somewhere completely ordinary, perhaps standing in a grocery store aisle or waiting at a traffic light, and a specific scent or a song from an overhead speaker catches you completely off guard. Suddenly, the adult world with its endless bills, digital notifications, and global anxieties simply vanishes. You are 12 years old again, sitting on a carpet that's warm from a massive television box that has been running since 6 a.m. Nobody is watching you. Nobody is coming to check on your progress. In today's hyper-monitored world, that scenario looks like neglect. But back then, it was just a typical Saturday. If that memory brings an immediate wave of familiarity, you belong to Generation X. Born between 1965 and 1980, this demographic was handed a childhood so structurally unique that modern psychology is only now beginning to understand its long-term impact. Today, we look past the superficial nostalgia to examine the deep behavioral conditioning behind 5 things you only remember if you're Gen X. 1. Analog scarcity, the fixed window, ***. Modern entertainment is engineered on a loop of infinite dopamine, offering the next video or episode in a seamless, automated countdown. But the Gen X childhood was built on a foundation of strict analog scarcity. Saturday morning cartoons ran from 7 a.m. until exactly noon, and when the clock struck 12, they simply vanished. The network broadcast stopped, replaced by sports or local news. Psychologically, this absolute scarcity manufactured a rare form of intense anticipation. You couldn't hit replay. You couldn't pause. You had to plan your entire week around a single, unyielding time slot. You woke up in the quiet, dark living room before your parents, eating cereal straight from the box. When that window closed, your entertainment budget for the week was completely spent. This early conditioning trained the brain to value scarce experiences deeply, a stark contrast to today's hyper-saturated, instant gratification digital world. 2. The Eerie key, the Latchkey reality, ***. For millions of Gen X children, the definitive symbol of independence was a cold piece of metal hung around the neck on a string or tucked safely into a denim pocket. Returning from school didn't mean being greeted by a parent or a nanny. It meant walking into a completely empty, silent house. With divorce rates rapidly climbing and economic shifts forcing mothers into the workforce in unprecedented numbers, modern childcare infrastructure did not yet exist. You unlocked the heavy door yourself, stepped into the quiet, made your own snack, and minded your younger siblings. You sat with the stillness of an empty house until the silence stopped feeling lonely and simply became your normal afternoon routine. Nobody engineered this environment to intentionally build character, but the psychological result was a profound, unshakable hyper-independence that Gen X carries proudly into adulthood today. 3. Ambient danger, unfiltered exposure, ***. In the mid-1980s, breakfast was routinely served alongside a terrifying psychological weight. Millions of children ate their morning meals while looking directly at a cardboard milk carton displaying the face, age, and vital details of a missing child. This national awareness campaign handed raw, unfiltered adult anxieties directly to young, developing minds without a soft landing or an emotional filter. You absorbed the image of a missing peer, finished your breakfast, and walked straight out the door into an unsupervised world. Combined with playing with genuinely hazardous, heavy metal lawn darts or riding bikes without helmets, Gen X grew up with a constant background hum of ambient danger. This routine, quiet exposure to a world that wasn't always safe produced a psychological resilience that makes this generation conspicuously unbothered by modern discomforts. 4. Untracked independence, the invisible kid, ***. Before smartphones, GPS location tracking, and instant text messaging, a child's freedom was bounded by a single, universal law: be home when the streetlights turn on. For 8 to 10 hours at a time on weekends, parents had absolutely no way of knowing your exact geographic location, who you were with, or what you were doing. You vanished completely into the neighborhood. If a conflict arose, you had to resolve it. If a peer hierarchy shifted, you had to navigate it. If you faced a physical risk, you had to manage it entirely on your own. In behavioral science, this untracked independence allowed for pure, unmonitored identity development. You weren't performing for a parent's approval or a social media algorithm. This lack of constant surveillance fostered a sturdy internal locus of control, leaving Gen X with a bone-deep certainty that they can survive whatever crisis lands in front of them. 5. The physical friction of information ***. Today, any historical debate or curiosity can be settled in 3 seconds with a quick search on your phone. But for Gen X, information possessed immense physical weight and friction. If you needed to know a fact for a school project or wanted to settle an argument with a friend, you had to physically travel to a local library or pull a heavy, dust-covered volume of an encyclopedia off a living room shelf. If your family's doorstep bought set was 10 years out of date, or if you didn't own the specific volume for the letter you needed, you simply had to sit with the frustration of not knowing. This invisible barrier trained an entire generation to tolerate uncertainty. It taught the human mind that valuable answers require physical effort, deliberate patience, and time. The memories of empty houses, heavy encyclopedias, and a finger hovering over a cassette deck to record a song off the radio formed the literal architecture of Gen X identity. It is a psychology built on analog patience, independent survival, and a quiet, adaptive strength that refuses to be forgotten.